Good morning. Uh, well, my heart is pretty heavy this morning. It's been heavy since last night because I got some confirmation from God about a particular subject that is just heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking. And not only did I get confirmation from God, but there's also things that are continuing to go on in the country that furthermore confirm God's confirmation to me, which is basically it being too late for the nation of America to be in God's grace. I mean, you'll see what I mean, okay? So, about 7 or 8 years ago, I had a dream about the downfall of America, okay? Now, this is almost 7 or 8 years ago. And I was really young at the time, evidently had no idea what it meant because I'm 24 now, so I was about 15 or 16 when I had this dream. So I had no idea what I was dreaming about. And basically, it's a very long dream, but I'm going to try to put it in a nutshell. I saw a helicopter painted in red, white, and blue, and it crashed very, very bad. Like the crash was absolutely devastating. And after the crash happened, I remember very clearly seeing people from foreign nations in tanks blowing up communities all over America. And not only that, fast forward 7 or 8 years later, this dream I had recently was a woman, a very famous woman, was brought into the hospital because she was dying. The doctors, the nurses, they all tried to do what they possibly could to prevent her from dying, but eventually realized that there was nothing more that they could do, and they basically just waited it out and watched her die. Not only that, but all the staff from the hospital, including environmental service, security, uh, package handlers, almost every department in the hospital came to watch this woman die. Now, to go back to the dream I just told you about with the helicopter and foreign nations blowing communities up with tanks. Well, that kind of spoke for itself. Of course, I had to go to prayer about it at first, and the helicopter is symbolic for war, okay? And the red, white, and blue painting obviously means America. And when it crashed, it was symbolic for the country crashing or destroying itself because of greed, pride, selfishness, and the list could go on for days. I mean, we are destroying ourselves from the inside out in more ways than most people can imagine. And to go to the recent dream about the woman in the hospital, well, when I went to God about it for confirmation, that woman, the very famous woman, was symbolic for America and how she is dying, and there's nothing more that we could do about it. I mean, America is well informed about the gospel of Jesus. America is well informed about biblical Christianity, not this progressive stuff that most people are pushing now because they don't want to hear the truth. they can't accept the truth, and they just want to live off of their feelings. But all in all, America is well informed about Christianity. Like, we've been at the point where there's no excuse to not follow Jesus. We have zero excuse to not read the Bible. We are without excuse. We are past excuses. We are way too past having any excuse to not follow Jesus. Okay? Now, considering these are personal encounters and conversations and dreams that I've had with God, well, I can't really prove anything to you, because I know most of you out there, you want proof of various different kinds. But the thing is, even when it's right in front of your face, you're still not going to be convinced. It's very similar to the Pharisees. The Son of God was right in front of their faces, talking to them, but it wasn't enough for them to believe. So with that being said, let me point you to this. If none of you are familiar with a YouTube channel called Grace to You, it's about a man named John MacArthur, very well-known preacher, well-known man of God. And yesterday he had a sermon titled, "Too Late for Grace When a Nation Rejects God." And this was directed toward America. Now, if you really think that's a coincidence, after all this time, 7, 8 years ago, a dream I had last year, and he's now talking about this, what other forms and kinds of proof would you need to further confirm something like this on a spiritual matter? Not only is it a spiritual matter, but it's evident in itself that America has completely turned her back on God. We are idolizing homosexuality, okay? Like, to even say, like, embracing it, that is such an understatement. We idolize homosexuality in America. It's become a god to us. Not only that, but due to high racial tension, most people idolize and worship their skin color when they should be worshiping God. And when you put anything above God, well, you've made that a god to you. And it is so idolized. Homosexuality, pride in skin color, it's insanely idolized. But yet we're so surprised, we're so shocked that we don't necessarily see God's hand in anything. We do all these wicked acts, we do these evil deeds, and reject God. I mean, we've kicked him out of schools how many years ago already? And yet we want to act surprised when the youth is rebellious. You want to act surprised when the youth becomes more and more addicted to drugs, partying, not going to church, not having any drive to be successful and make something good of their lives. I mean, we've brought this on ourselves. When you push God out of anything, you're bringing your own destruction on yourself, because like lost sheep, like lost stray dogs, we don't know what's good for us. Evidently, we have no idea what's good for us. We put pleasure, temporary pleasure, over long-term gain. We put temporary pleasure over longevity. I mean, I really don't even have to explain that to any of you listening to this. It's evident in itself. Okay? Now, to even go further off of that for more proof, okay? A few videos ago in the series about Who is Your Master, in part 2, I was talking about the borderline crisis between Mexico and Texas, okay? Let's go further off of that. Now remember, I just told you that in a dream I had 7 or 8 years ago, there was foreign nations blowing up American communities with tanks, right? Well, if you're not familiar with Ted Cruz or Congresswoman Beth Von Dine, okay, these two people, Ted Cruz, he's a senator. Beth Von Dine is a congresswoman for the United States of America. They have been at the border religiously at this point in order to document and prove to the American people what's actually going on at the border. And if none of you watched part 2 of that series last time with Who is Your Master, okay? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, the Biden administration, told you on live television that they planned on opening the border. They wanted to stop Trump building the wall, and I mean, they told you right in front of your face that they were going to open up the borders, which means you're going to have drug cartels entering in the country. You're going to have human traffickers enter into the country. You're going to have numerous people from another nation that have numerous criminal backgrounds. They have numerous backgrounds of criminal activity. It's pretty bad criminal history. Like I said, it's drug cartels, human trafficking, kidnapping. I mean, they told you right in front of your face that this was their plan, and nobody batted an eye. And now we have thousands upon thousands. At this point now, it's been about 2.5 or 3 weeks since it's been reported in regards to just how bad it's got. I wouldn't be surprised if there's millions of illegal immigrants in the country now at this point. Now, for any of you, again, who just jump to the conclusion that anybody being against illegal immigration is a racist of any kind, no, let me stop you there. Just listen to this, okay? The whole point, again, of having secure borders is to make sure that criminals from other countries have no access to get into the country here and further progress criminal activity that's already going on. It's bad enough that we have it among our own people. Why would you want to add to it with people from other nations? That's the whole point of having secure borders. Because if somebody from another nation wants to come in, you have to get a background check. You have to be thoroughly checked to ensure that you don't got no weapons, you don't got no drugs, and that you don't got any kind of ties to criminal organizations in that other country. But the Biden administration told all of you, all of us, right in front of our faces, that they planned on opening up the border, which was literally, not metaphorically, it was literally an open door for the Mexican drug cartel, human traffickers, and kidnappers all together to just walk on in over into the country. And the Border Patrol doing these background checks, all the people involved in making sure that you and me are safe, who are doing these checks on people, the majority of them have ties to the drug cartel, have ties to human trafficking organizations, but the Biden administration just wants to let them come on in. Now, why do I bring that up? Why do I bring up John MacArthur's sermon? Because I just told you that me explaining to you these personal encounters and dreams given to me by God, they're not going to be enough for most of you to be convinced. So with that being said, I'm pointing out things that are actually going on in the country, furthermore confirming God's confirmation to me about what has been going on, and it's only going to get worse. Evidently, America, we are at the point of no return. Even when I had a Facebook, I put that dream out there. Most people, they looked at it, but they never commented on it. But regardless, before I got rid of social media, YouTube's the only thing I got now. I put this out there for people to see. This just furthermore confirms what's going on and what's going to continue, and it's only getting worse. The Antichrist agenda is being pushed all the more day by day, right in front of our faces. Whoops. Well, let me just close off with that. All right. The Antichrist agenda is being pushed day by day. Our borders are now open for criminal organizations to just walk on through and wreak havoc upon the country. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Things are just going to pop off all the more, and it's going to be a matter of every man for himself, basically. So with that being said, if you don't know Jesus, come to know him as Lord and Savior. If you've rejected God almost all your life, stop. Come to him, accept him as Lord and Savior, and he will protect you. All right? No gun, no knife, sword, bow and arrow, tank, no arsenal of any kind will be able to keep you safe in the long run in the way that God can. It's even written that wisdom is better than weapons of war because, well, your weapons of war, your physical weapons of war are limited sources. But God's wisdom is infinite. And if he can teach you and guide you and instruct you in a manner that you should go, you're going to be fine. Just trust in him. God bless you.